Hey everyone, and welcome to Manifestation Mondays with Marcy. I'm going to make every attempt to get through this segment without sneezing 10 times in a row. I'm having a lot of challenges during this allergy season here in Florida, so please excuse me if I start coughing or sneezing. I may have to cut this video short. Anyway, while I have you here, I want to talk about something really important that came up just the other day in conversation. Now, as you know, if you have been watching my other videos and joined us for the workshop, is that we're spending a lot of time in preparation for actually initiating the manifestation project. Now, from the outside, it might look like we're doing nothing. But here's the truth, and I want you to really take this in. Manifestation work is an inside job. So whatever it looks like on the outside is not a clear reflection of what is happening on the inside. And the reason that we're spending so much time in preparation is because I want you to be successful. I want you to have a taste of what it feels like when you can have instantaneous manifestation. This has happened to me over and over and over again. And it's also happened for other people that I've worked with all around the world. It is the most amazing feeling, because in that moment, you are recognizing that the universe is there at your beck and call. It's just waiting for your instructions. But those instructions have to also come from a place of clarity so that you are truly believing that you have this capacity within you to create and manifest your heart's desires. Now, what does it take? Well, that's something I want to talk about today. And again, this came up in conversation, and I am not certain that I've ever really given it the importance that it really deserves. So we're going to be talking today about illusions and how illusions affect your perspective. And of course, your perspective is what creates your belief. Now, we're going to look at illusions from two sides. Number one, and this is where I really want to put our emphasis, and that is that all illusion, and you can write this down, big, bold letters, all illusion comes from the ego. All illusion comes from the ego. What does that mean in terms of manifestation? What it means is that the ego will be so loyal, so committed to keeping that illusion alive that it will stop at nothing. And when I say stop at nothing, I mean stop at nothing. What kind of illusions am I talking about? Well, the illusions I want to start with are illusions like none of this stuff really works. Or, who are you kidding? Who do you think you are to even ask for something like that? How could you be so ungrateful to ask for something more than you have? You've already been given so much. You're not lovable. What makes you think that someone will come along and love you? You're not worthy of love. You're not deserving of love. Look at how you've treated people who have loved you in the past. So I'm talking to you now about the thoughts that the ego produces through knowing your vulnerability. Your vulnerability occurred because you have had instances, experiences in your life that left you feeling less than lovable, less than worthy, less smart, less deserving. It left you confused about who you were, but it also left you very vulnerable, in that you started to ask questions, not to remind yourself of your greatness, but you asked questions to validate your not being enough. How do I know this? I know this because we all have done this. And unless you know it's happening, it will just continue to take you into a downward spiral. And a downward spiral takes you further and further away from anything that you want to manifest from your heart. Now, here's the thing, and you've heard me say this before. Because you are this creative genius, you are creating 24/7. So when you're unconsciously creating, things pop up and suddenly you're going to be so surprised. When things are popping up because they've been influenced by the illusions that I'm referring to, I can guarantee you will not be happy with what has popped up. It will always be less than what your heart desired. And then what does that produce? More evidence that you're not worthy. More evidence that you're not enough. So these illusions are something that we must stay keenly aware of, because the ego is a master of disguise. It will do whatever it can, like I said, to deceive you, because its whole purpose is to prevent you. Well, I shouldn't say its whole purpose, because part of its purpose, of course, is to, in its own mind, protect you. It believes that it has to keep you right where you are in order to do that. And part of it also is that its worst nightmare is that you remember who you are, that you are this creative genius. Because when you remember that, not only does the ego no longer have any hold over you, but you don't have any use for it. And that's, of course, its greatest fear. It's afraid that you will abandon it. So I have to ask you, how many times do you think that you have abandoned yourself, when in fact what you were doing was appeasing the ego, actually appeasing it? So these illusions run very deep. So how do we come to the point where we recognize them? This is where becoming consciously aware of how you are feeling is so essential. Because there's always so much chatter in your mind, you might not discern the thoughts that are going to take you in that downward spiral. But here's what I want you to know. You will always discern the feeling. It rises up from within you as an actual sensation. And part of the assignment, you might say, that I want you to really put into use in the next couple of days is to start paying attention to how you're feeling rather than how you're thinking. You see, the ego has control over your mind. In fact, it controls about 97% of your thoughts. So even if you catch your thoughts, the ego will immediately, because it's so masterful at knowing your vulnerabilities, it immediately will send up a smokescreen or a distraction so that you lose sight of that thought and you're already on to another one. And this one you're sure is going to be better. But remember, the ego is relentless and it will be on a road where it will make certain that your thoughts will not take you in the direction that you need to go. So your, in truth, only real element of mastery comes from a place of being able to discern the sensations that you are experiencing. Those sensations are actually created through your higher self working to get your attention. So this is where you're going to start to move from your head into your heart for the information that you're looking for. Your heart will produce these sensations for you because your heart is aligned with your higher self, and the desires of your heart are that connection. So we start to pay attention to how we are feeling rather than what we are thinking. Now, this may sound to you like it is a complete opposite of everything that you've been taught. It probably is. You have been taught to, watch your thoughts. You've been taught that, thoughts become things. You've been taught that if you want to change your reality, change your thoughts. That's only partially true. Number one, it's very difficult to change your thoughts when they're in a downward spiral. And again, it's because the ego will take you to this false sense of security, like, oh, I caught myself thinking that. And then immediately, the moment that it has you lulled into that place of feeling safe again, it's going to take you down another spiral with a vengeance. And so what it does is it produces these smoke screens, these distractions, so you don't realize it. So what are your chances, really, of changing all of your thoughts when you recognize that the ego controls 97% of them? How powerful do you think you are when it comes to trying to change your thoughts? Well, unless you've become very masterful at that, it's slim to none. I'm just being right up front with you right now. It's slim to none. And the other thing I want to talk about is, where are the thoughts coming from? And this perhaps is something that we need to delve into a little bit deeper, but give that some thought. Where do you think your thoughts come from? Well, if 97% of them are controlled by your ego, where do you think they're coming from? They're coming from other thoughts that are in connection with the ego frequency. You are magnetic. You are drawing to you energy that is just like your own all the time. So if your thoughts are very ego-based, egocentric, you will collect to you, draw to you, magnetically other thoughts that are just like yours. Now what are your chances of getting out of that debacle? So I want you to know that you're hardwired to be a manifestation master. You are here to manifest. So given that, don't you think that you have within you the wiring to support that level of mastery? Of course you do. But because of all of the conditioning and the programming that we've received from childhood and from our teachers and our religions and other people who are just as confused as anyone else, you've forgotten that you have this. That hard wiring comes from you, your true heart, and its connection to your higher self that will never ever lead you astray. It knows exactly what your heart's desires are, and it sets out constantly, 24/7, to support you in creating that. And yes, you are hardwired to do this successfully, but it's you who needs to choose which voice to listen to. Will you continue to listen to the voice that is going to distort your perceptions with illusions? Are you going to continue to listen to the voice that wants to sabotage your every effort because it cannot bear the thought of you abandoning it? Are you going to begin to put your attentions and make choices to live in your heart rather than in the domain that your ego controls? When we start to live in our hearts, when we start to, rather than trying to change our thoughts, we bring our thoughts into our heart where they will be healed. Well, they will come back into alignment with truth. You have taken a giant step towards your true manifestations of your heart's desires. And you will also have taken a huge step for mankind, because everything that we create influences everything around us. So today's segment, today's reminder is that you choose which voice to listen to, and you choose which energy to feed. And so, having said that, the choice is yours, and it's now calling to you, asking you what your choice is. Because the universe doesn't have a choice. I'm going to say that again. The universe doesn't have a choice. It just answers yes all the time. Yes, 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 yes. It responds to you by immediately seeking out other energy just like the one that you have offered it. If that energy is soaked in illusion, you will be bathed in further illusion and those who share the illusion with you. But if you're courageous and start to accept yourself as the magnificent, incredible creator that you are, and trust that there is a voice in you that will lead you to your success, that will lead you to where you want to be in the life that you want to live, you will have a taste of your greatness. So that's my invitation to you. Begin to discern the sensations that you experience when you're not feeling like you're enough, or not lovable, or you're not smart enough, or funny enough, or pretty enough, or all of those things that we tell ourselves. What do you feel? Where do you feel it? Start to pay attention to that, because then you can call your higher self in to help you to bring all of that illusion into your heart and give it the love that it needs to set you free. So your assignment until next week is to collect the data about setting yourself free. If this is what it feels like when I'm feeling less than, what does it feel like when I'm remembering who I am? Ask those questions. The universe will provide the answers. Start asking more and more and more. What does it feel like within me when I am in alignment? It's the most miraculous thing. Remember, it's a yes universe. All it does is it says, yes, here you go. Here's more of it. And so I'm going to leave that with you today. We will continue on this path of really, truly understanding manifestation through understanding and knowing and loving ourselves just as we are. So much love to you. I'm amazed I made it through this entire thing without sneezing once. You must have a very magical effect on me. Thank you so much, and I'll see you soon. Mwah.